Peace, everyone. It is Melissa L. Jones, host of the Edible Activist podcast and your favorite edible activist. Welcome to the show. I'm excited that you guys decided to come back and join in on today's episode. I'm excited as always. I have a very special guest, a returning guest. An edible activist alum, as I would like to call my amazing guests who have graced the show before, who will be joining us in just a few moments. Before that, I just have to plug in the YouTube channel. You can find my YouTube channel, Food Talks in Color, on YouTube. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button so that you can be kept up to date on all of our shows. We typically broadcast every other Monday live at 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. So I encourage you to join the fun, especially in the chat, because it be popping. All right. So without further ado, I'm going to briefly introduce my very special guest, Kehmari Norman, who is the founder and creator of Black Flower Market. And also the Eucalyptus Queen, which I'm going to call her that as soon as she comes in. And she's the founder and creator of Black Flower Market, which is a remarkable floral studio based in Washington, D.C. And so Kehmari and fellow activists have been working on some really amazing initiatives and projects and mission over the last month or so, more specifically a Reparations Garden on the ellipse near the White House. And so I want to unpack that because I've watched Kehmari's moves and I've been following this initiative. I've been following the work that her and these activists have been doing. And so we're going to have a conversation to unpack what her and some other amazing folks have been doing. So without further ado, I am going to bring Kehmari on to my virtual stage. Hey, Kehmari.
Hi, Melissa. How are you?
I'm well. I'm so thrilled to have you, returning guest on the show, looking stunning as always. Okay, showing up. That's what she does. She pulls up and looks beautiful.
Well, thank you, Melissa. Likewise.
Thank you, darling. So Kehmari, the other thing that I meant to mention too is she's a garden specialist. She's an educator. She's an activist. She is freaking creative. Like, she is so many things. She's a ball of things, but like her talent with florals is just out of this world. And I envy it. I really do envy it because like she just has this natural born talent when it comes to nature. All right. So not just talented in the area of florals, but food and growing food. And so anyway, I'm just super excited to have you a part of the show. Kehmari, you have been working on some really dynamic things that I definitely want to just talk through during this episode. And so for our listeners, just for them to get a brief snapshot at the top of our episode of what we'll be discussing. So as I mentioned, Kehmari and fellow activists and like a coalition actually have worked on the Reparations Garden near the White House, which we'll talk more to in just a few moments. Definitely want to lean in, on what are the outcomes and what are the next steps of this as well. Mm-hmm. And then also just really briefly unpacking, the HR, 40 bill and what that has meant to the coalition, what that means to Black folks, what that means to our legacy, our ancestors. So just really leaning in on that as well. And then, we're not closing the show out without talking about some other amazing projects that you have worked on, that are really just connected to your business, connected to your lineage, connected to who you are, which is the Concrete Rose Project, which I just really want our listeners to learn more about. But we're going to start at the White House because y'all strolled up and pretty much knocked at President Joe Biden's door, bloop, bloop, and was just like, hey, we pulling up, and we're going to hold you accountable.
Exactly.
That's what y'all did. So let's talk about the Reparations Garden project and who was involved, how this all came about, and just this amazing community of folks, who are, holding this country accountable to studying reparations and not forgetting, our past and our legacy. So let's talk about this Reparations Garden for a bit, if you can unpack that.
Absolutely. So the Reparations Garden, the design was the brainchild of the Human Rights Watch and Stink Studios. Stink Studios is an ad agency based in New York, led by women of color. And so they created this idea of pretty much putting in a nonviolent stunt, political stunt to bring awareness to the acts to pass the HR 40 bill. So I was asked by Stink Studios to create this installation, curating the flowers and all of the materials, the all Black team, to install a football field size installation of flowers that represented the Pan-African flag. Um, so it has been a true joy, and we got it done in a relatively quick amount of time. It was an urgent ask, and I was elated to be able to fulfill that.
That is beautiful. That is beautiful. And one of the things that I had, picked up on when you had posted about this on Instagram, like, and very with conviction, all Black, all Black. And please, I just from your words and just from your posture of conviction, why that's even more important, this all Black, group of amazing dynamic people to come together to work on this.
Absolutely, because Black people have been running this reparations movement since its inception. Mama Callie House was a Tennessee native who started the ex-slave reparations in the late 1800s, and it has been an ongoing fight since then. Callie House was introducing some of the first legislation to Congress about reparations, quantifying the amount of assets and funding that was due to Black Americans, and she was of the era of she was maybe 2 generations after emancipation, so she was of those group of Americans that was born into freedom and matured into this free space in America. And so she was just an arm reach away, like her grandparents, some of the elders in her neighborhood were ex-slaves with clear, vivid memory and vivid like documentation of their experience as slaves. And so just continuing that legacy, it has always been all Black, well, not necessarily all Black, but a Black-led and a Black-driven movement. And so just to be a part of that legacy is beyond me, honestly.
Yes, absolutely. So I had to show this, again, this has been picked up by a number of outlets. And so I can't zoom in, but like, this is Kehmari right here, y'all. I had to show you this. And this photo is so beautiful, and it is so full, Kehmari, and it is so rich. And what kind of flowers are these?
Yes. So the red flowers to represent the red of the Pan-African flag is celosia. We use black mulch to fill in the center of the flag, and we use a variety of foliage plants like croton and dracaena to make up the green. And so we gave away all of these plants, like at the close of the installation, so people can take home some of the reparations garden with them.
Oh my gosh. Oh my God. I keep saying, oh my goodness. That, oh, I love that so much. I love like whoever captured this photo, and they're credited, like did an amazing job, because this is absolutely wonderful. So was this really just a thing of like pulling up, or did you guys have to go through like any sort of like, I don't know, because DC is DC. Mm-hmm. And the White House is bare. You can't even you can't throw nothing at the White House. Like it literally.
Yeah, we had like ample amount of planning, so many conference calls, emails. Sometimes it started at 7 a.m. and ended at 11 p.m. and we'll just start all over the next day. But it was like an incredulous amount of planning prior to actually getting on the site. We had to get permits to start working, and we got those permits the day of the event, and everything. It was a tenacious team to get this done, to say the least. It was a crazy amount of planning.
I can only imagine, especially from retired. I always put that in quotes, as I always feel myself planning something every once in a blue moon. Planning a retired event planner who is familiar with the permitting process, and I know the permitting process in DC is no joke.
It was so disgusting.
Kehmari said disgusting.
It was quite a process.
I bet it was. But the turnout was incredible. And so what has been some of the responses? What has been some of the outcomes from the installation?
Yes, on an interpersonal level, I have met so many passionate people in repertory justice where we will continue this relationship, such as Dreesen Heath, who is this wonderful Black woman researcher, a part of the Human Rights Watch team, and Erica Berg, who is a lovely ally with the movement. And so just interpersonally building those relationships to continue putting repertory justice in my work with Black Flower Market, I'm extremely grateful for. On a more national level, we got the attention of, I believe we got the attention from the White House because of happenings on site. Yet publicly, we got the support of Senate Cory Booker, who he wrote a letter to further establish a presidential commission to study reparations. So we're super proud of that.
Flowers to y'all. Y'all the ones that deserve the flowers. You ever get flowers? We need to give Kehmari flowers. Like, Kehmari's a giver. Like, we need to give Kehmari flowers. We need to give these activists as coalition flowers, okay?
Yes.
You deserve flowers. You all deserve flowers. That is amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that. And I'm sorry, remind me, how long was the installation up for? How long did it remain up for?
Yes, the installation was up for about 4 days from June 16th until June 20th.
Okay. Oh my goodness. Well, as I was preparing for our conversation, Kehmari, I said, well, actually, I just a side note. So I purchased like a really beautiful top that actually had red flowers, and like it was black and red, and it's so pretty. I was just like, oh, that would be great, but then it probably showed too much Cleveland up here, right? So I said, let me grab something else, as I really just wanted to honor this conversation, you know. So I first of all, I love flowers, but I really wanted to honor this conversation. I purposely wore like a floral romper, white flowers, but in honor of this conversation and in honor of the coalition and the activists, you know, who put this all together. Again, you all deserve your flowers, and kudos to you all. So, and I look forward to, like, I know this work continues. Obviously, we've been in this fight forever, and this work continues. This is a mission. That's why I don't really want to just label it as a project, because with a project, there's a start and there's an end, right? But like, this really is a lifelong, you know, mission and continued fight. So I definitely want to name that. You know, often when we talk about reparations, or we mention, even just say reparations, our minds immediately go towards, you know, what Black folks are owed, right? Like the 40 acres and a mule, like the money due to the hardship, you know, like all of that. But with the HR 40 bill, you know, this is a call for a commission to be put together, correct, to study reparations.
Absolutely.
So yes, I'm sorry. So I definitely just want to just spend a few moments just really talking through that, because we never really talk about actually diving into studying reparations. It's just really like, no, write us a check because we're owed something. You know, we don't have the other conversation. So just want to spend a few moments just unpacking the HR 40 bill and what this would mean for us in the reparations.
Absolutely. Yes, it's far beyond cutting a check. And one of the activists who was a big part of making the Reparations Garden installation happen is Reverend Mark Thompson. And he described that the commission studies and quantifies the amount due for labor, for free labor that we've given for 400 years. And he labeled like the trickling effects of slavery, like Jim Crow and redlining and
Yes.
mass incarceration. He labeled these happenings as vestiges of slavery. And so the commission will study how Black people, or how the government, federal and local government had intentionally barred Black Americans from the American economy.
I just need to soak that in. Systems that are still here, systems that we're still fighting, systems that were built hundreds of years ago.
Mm-hmm. So we have progressive states like California and Illinois who have passed reparatory bills in certain, I don't know if in certain towns, certain states, or within their state, but there's a town in Illinois that created like a tax on cannabis purchases, and that is to benefit the Black Americans in their like province or area, I guess. But it gets so deep, and there's not one form of reparations that we are due. Like Georgetown University is built on burial grounds, and so it's so many like stories of displacement that was strategically done by the states and the country that's due to Black Americans, whether that's a monthly or residual check, or if that's like generational scholarships, or if that is funding for homes in certain areas where we were intentionally displaced. I'm transparently newly stepping into this realm, and so I'm reading and learning and connecting with as many activists as I can, but it kind of means different things to different people what reparatory justice means or actuality.
I'm so glad that you hit on those points and lifted that up, because again, as I stated before, we really only think of like the one form of reparations, and it just thank you for highlighting that there are different forms of what this could look like. And I'm sure as you study it more and as others study it, I mean, I'm sure that there are other ways as well. So I really appreciate that, and I'm learning a whole lot from this conversation. And again, again just thank you for lifting that up, because I think that's very important to name. So from the installation, from in the work that you've been doing with the coalition, but really from the installation, what were like for you personally, or really representative of the coalition, what did you want? Or did you, or even currently still, because this is current, this is a mission, what do you want us to really walk away with?
I want us to feel a part of this movement. I mentioned to a lot of the activists on site and the planning team that sometimes reparatory justice and action can kind of seem elitist, or like it's kind of confined to academia. But just learning about Kylie House's story is these movements have been fueled by the layperson, the non-educated, just the Black person living the Black experience. And so what I hope from this, and one reason why I was super intentional about picking my team of all Black Washingtonians, about 3 of my team were returning citizens. And so I really wanted to bring just kind of like the average, not even the average, because there's no average, but the everyday Washingtonian, the Black Washingtonian, into this space to kind of bring it down a few levels and just make it understandable and digestible. Because some of us, some of my team didn't even know what reparations was, and so having that conversation with them, the ages varied from like 17 to up to 45, and so just having those conversations in everyday terms was fantastic, and what I hope to continue.
Absolutely. Yeah, yes to all of that. And there are a lot of spaces that could be judgmental. And I say that all the time, especially even when we're talking about like the food space, it can be very judgmental, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
And so we have to extend grace to, first of all, everyone, they deserve it or not. I know I need grace. And that if you don't know, you don't know. And so there is always an opportunity to educate someone.
Yeah.
And then with the hope that there's a ripple effect, that it will, you know, that gets transferred on over to the next person. And,
right.
And that's how you continue to cultivate this community. And, you know, and again, like in our own right, in some form or fashion, we are educators. And I do feel like we do have somewhat of a responsibility to, when you know something, when you know better, you do better, right? So if you know something, share it.
Absolutely. Yes.
So, and there's no judging, because there are a ton of things that I don't know, you know? So it's
likewise.
Exactly. So I just thank you for saying that, because one of the things I even for this show, like I like to have like very, you know, keep the conversations just enough so that anybody can digest the information and make it a space that's welcoming for anybody to just be able to understand, like at least just the basics, because you never know who's stepping into your space. You never know who's stepping into your arena and wants to learn more.
Right.
And they become your biggest advocate. You never know what that turns into.
They likely will, because you're not judging them because they don't have a high school diploma or a college degree or whatever these conditions that we kind of put on societal norms. But in reading Callie House's story, a lot of the educated and affluent African Americans in that era who had held prestigious like titles like congressmen or governors, they laughed at her and her struggle and fight for pensions for ex-slaves, and she got all of her support from ex-slaves, and it was a truly grassroots movement that the higher ups couldn't ignore anymore. So no judgment. All I yes,
none.
learn together.
And I'm going to reserve my comments for other things that I like to say. But yeah, thank you for sharing that. No judgment. Exactly. Well, again, thank you for sharing that. That I have been like just in awe of watching everything unfold. And so I look forward to the continuation of this mission and other things that you all have in the hopper. So thank you so much for that. We're going to wrap up very shortly, but a couple more things that I definitely want to touch on is also before you tell people where to find you, okay, and where to get this eucalyptus bunch, all right, because I am going to highlight that every time I see Kehmari. She is the Eucalyptus Queen, and she's going to tell you all about the eucalyptus, okay? Period. Exactly.
Yes.
So I know something that has been really close to your heart, and is, you know, there's a lot happening in the city. As you're a Washingtonian, you know, DC native. You can hear it all in Kehmari's voice. I love it. Like, it's all there. And I know that, you know, something that you've been working on for a minute is what you call the Concrete Rose Project. And I really just want to just really just talk about that just for a bit, and how that came about, and, you know, what what this means to your business and just means to you personally, especially as someone who is from the city and from this area. And so, yeah, if you can just share a bit more with us, that would be wonderful.
Yes. The Concrete Rose Project is a mutual aid program through Black Flower Market where we center bereavement and gun violence. And so each month we aim to give at least one bouquet to a family in Washington, D.C. that has lost a loved one to gun violence. And I was inspired to do this project because I have been affected by homicide laws in so many ways. So a lot of my family, my friends, we all have had this walk with gun violence and trying to overcome the trauma of that. And so my hope with the Concrete Rose Project is that we will build a community of empathy and share that through flowers. And so folks can go to blackflowermarket.com and check out the Concrete Rose Project link where they can either nominate a family or a person who has lost someone in Washington, D.C. due to homicide, or they can also donate to the cause in order to fund more flowers for families.
That's awesome. That's really good to know. I didn't know that we could fund, donate. So you can fund. That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that, even for myself to know. That's awesome. Kehmari's so brilliant, y'all. So when I first met Kehmari, I was like, she is just brilliant. I've watched her lead pre-pandemic in Spaces conversations, a room full of gardeners and growers and activists, and just the way that you just gracefully go about your business, go about how you do things. I just really am in awe of it. But you really just are a genius. You are brilliant. And so I honor you. I give you your flowers. If nobody is giving you your bouquet, here's your virtual bouquet of flowers. I really do admire the work that you're doing. And it's incredible. And I got Temple alum, right? You went to Temple, right?
Yes. Yes, I'm a Temple. Wow. Yep.
Yes. Shout out Temple. Awesome. And actually before we're going to wrap up, and I want to share your Instagram page because I really it's one of my favorites too. First, I love flowers, and Black Flower Market is one of my favorites anyway, but I want people to see. So we're going to just take a few moments, if you don't mind, just to drool over your page just a bit. All right.
Yes.
Are you okay with that?
I would love that.
Awesome. All right. Give sister girl, give me a moment. We're gonna do this.
I have to post more often. I'm creating a brand map to post more frequently.
And maybe you do, and maybe you don't. And actually, I should screen. Can you all? Let me see.
I can see it here.
Okay. All right. So awesome. So let's just look at. So you can actually see at the top of her feed, the installation, some of the articles that actually picked up this project, or picked up the installation, picked up this initiative and what the coalition was doing. And the eucalyptus, here we go. Y'all see that? But I just love it. Smudge sticks. I didn't actually even notice there was a butterfly at the end of this. Oh my goodness, Kehmari.
Yes, that's a Taurus smudge stick.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, Black Flower Market produces some of the best smudge sticks. I have purchased them as gifts. I love them. They're beautiful. I actually just want to look at them. I don't even want to use them, Kehmari. I just want to sit them on the windowsill as decoration. That's it. That's it.
That is so funny.
Oh my goodness gracious. But yes, you all, Black Flower Market, so you know where to find her. That's BLKFLWRMRKT. Screenshot that. Follow the Eucalyptus Queen. You guys, if you need some really good smell good stuff for your immune system, go check out her eucalyptus bunches, okay? That you can hang on your showers, hang in your shower. It's just, it's amazing. So, thank you, Kehmari. I just had to spend a few moments just doing that. I hope you didn't mind.
No, thank you so much.
Of course.
Now we blessed, Chan.
Absolutely. All right. So we know where to find you on Instagram. Where else can we locate you? Shout out the website again.
Yes.
And Kehmari is a Spice Girl, y'all.
I
Kehmari,
am
Black
a
Flower
Spice
Market,
Girl.
Spice Girl. So tell us where we could find you, where we could pull up, get all our goodies. Like, let everyone know.
Absolutely. So you can follow me on Black Flower Market on Instagram. My website is spelled how the dictionary spells those words. So it's blackflowermarket.com. Yes, I am a Spice Girl, which is a collective of Black-owned businesses that pops up at DC's only spice shop, The Spice Suite. And I pop up there on the fourth Sundays of each month. So come by and see me.
Yay. Kehmari, what is one edible act that someone can take right after listening to this show?
One edible act that someone can take is to be conscious of the weeds that are growing around them. One of my mentors says often, if it's abundant around you, that's God's treat to you. So things in our area that we prize is like, or that we don't necessarily prize, actually, that we consider weeds, but it's abundant, is plantain and dandelion, and all of these things are powerhouses to our immune system and to our body. So one edible act, whether you're here in DC and you have dandelions growing all over the place, or you're in California and you have eucalyptus growing all over the place, use your weeds, use what God has given you abundantly.
Ooh, that was a message. I need a church fan. Oh gosh, yes, Kehmari. I'm gonna start calling you the dandelion queen as well, because
That's
you're
my
always
favorite.
speaking of dandelion. Okay,
Yeah, it is
always.
My favorite.
All right, y'all. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Again, you can catch our episodes live every other Monday at 7:30 p.m. on YouTube. Join us for fun in the chat. And go check out Black Flower Market, all right? I want to hear all your rave reviews about your smudge sticks, your eucalyptus bunches, all of that, okay? All right. Peace, y'all.
Peace. Thank you, Melissa.
Of course.